The summer of 1518 in Strasbourg, France, was unlike any other. It began with a strange sight that would soon turn into a terrifying spectacle. People dancing in the streets might seem ordinary, but not like this. These people weren't dancing for joy or celebration. They danced uncontrollably, their bodies driven by an unseen force. It all started in July. The cobbled streets of Strasbourg, a bustling city in what is now France, became the stage for a bizarre and frightening phenomenon. It was the start of the dancing plague, a mass episode of uncontrolled dancing that would grip the city for weeks, leaving its mark in history as a chilling mystery. Imagine a city filled with the sounds of shuffling feet and labored breathing, day and night. The dancers were not participating in a joyous festival. Their faces were etched with pain and confusion. They were compelled to dance, unable to stop even as their bodies grew weary and their minds pleaded for rest. The relentless dancing went on, day after day, night after night. Sleep offered no escape. Many collapsed from exhaustion, only to resume their frenzied movements upon waking. The strange epidemic puzzled onlookers and authorities alike. This was no ordinary dance. It was a plague of the most peculiar kind. The plague's first victim was a woman named Frau Troffea. On a July day, she stepped into the street and began to dance. There was no music, no apparent reason for her sudden compulsion. Yet she moved with an energy that both fascinated and frightened those who witnessed it. Frau Troffea's solo performance did not last long. Within days, her erratic movements attracted an audience, and soon, others felt the irresistible urge to join her. One by one, then in droves, people were seized by the same inexplicable compulsion, their bodies mimicking her frantic steps. By the end of the week, over 30 people had joined Frau Troffea in her ceaseless dance. The streets, once bustling with merchants and townsfolk, were now dominated by a throng of involuntary dancers, their faces a canvas of bewilderment and agony. The plague was spreading like wildfire, its contagious nature evident in the sheer number of people succumbing to its strange call. News of the dancing plague spread beyond Strasbourg, attracting curious onlookers and concerned physicians from neighboring towns and countries. The sight that greeted them was both fascinating and horrifying. A sea of contorted bodies, fueled by an unknown force, locked in a dance they could not escape. As days turned into weeks, the relentless dancing began to take its toll. The initial amusement and curiosity gave way to grave concern, as the dancers showed visible signs of deterioration. Their clothes, drenched in sweat, clung to their emaciated frames. Their eyes, wide with exhaustion and pain, reflected the torment their bodies endured. Exhaustion was only the beginning. The relentless movements led to blistered feet, raw and bleeding. Muscles, strained beyond their limits, cramped and spasmed. Some dancers, their minds teetering on the brink of delirium, suffered hallucinations. They cried out incoherently, their pleas for mercy lost in the cacophony of shuffling feet and the hollow thumping of bodies hitting the cobblestones. The physical toll was compounded by the lack of sustenance. Lost in their delirious state, many dancers were unable to eat or drink, their bodies growing weaker by the day. The stench of sweat, urine, and feces permeated the air around the clock, a grim testament to the dancers' deteriorating physical state. chroniclers of the time documented horrifying accounts of dancers collapsing and dying from exhaustion, heart attacks, or strokes. The exact death toll remains unknown, but estimates range from a few dozen to as many as 400 people. The dancing plague, as bizarre as it seemed, was leaving a trail of death and despair in its wake. Theories of a plague, from divine wrath to poisoned bread.